where is that coming from? Is it me? Is it you? Oh, I never quite know.
I don't. I mean, try that again. I've just turned everything down. See how that goes.
Okay, I'm speaking now. I'm still getting a slight echo. It may settle by itself because sometimes it does. Oh wow, that's really. I might just have to have you talking the whole time so that because I
No pressure then.
I could just hear myself. And I like the sound of my own voice, but not that much. Not when it is echoing back at me in my own ear. I think we'll be good. Let's see. Sometimes it just settles a little bit. So if anyone on Instagram, if you're hearing an echo, can you just let me know? And I think Catherine's frozen on there for a second, but it's fine. I'm sure it will come back. If you're hearing an echo on Instagram, just let me know with a little yes, I'm hearing echo. There's not really anything to do about it, but just to let you know, you can also watch us on Facebook or on my YouTube channel or on LinkedIn if you just go to my account, and we'll still be able to talk with you on there with comments and things. So if you're not hearing it very well on here, then I do apologize, but you can head over there. And no echo from me. Thank you, darling. Okay, great. So hopefully that's good. So it's just me echoing in my own ear, which is incredibly unpleasant, but we'll go with it. And I don't know why it's doing that. Funny things happen all the time on here. But we're live now on all the platforms. So let's get into this and welcome, Catherine. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you on this wonderful, sunny, beautiful morning. I have an awesome guest with me today. Catherine is with me today, and we're going to be talking about stop hiding and be your full self. We're going to delve into what that really means. And before we go into that, we'll do a very, very quick um, intro. So my name is Pinky Jangra. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm a resilience trainer, and I'm generally an explorer of life. I want to know why we're here, who I am, what is this universe, what is everything, how do we live our best lives, and I'm always on that quest of understanding and growth. Catherine, do you want to do yourself a little intro? While I
Yeah.
try and figure out why I'm echoing so much.
You get onto that. I'm sure you'll sort it out. Yeah. Hi. My name's Catherine. To coin the words of Jane Austen, I'm a connoisseur of human folly. Not unlike Pinky, really. Completely curious about why we do what we do, how we do it, and all that kind of stuff. In my professional capacity, I'm a gut health specialist, and you might think that's all about like horrible things like intestines and stuff. But for me, it's about helping people clear out their and find out what's kind of hiding underneath. So that's why I'm having this chat with Pinky, why we're going to explore where we're hiding and from what and why, all that kind of stuff.
I'm glad you started with that because that actually was the first question that did come into my mind. And I love for people watching to share their views on this as well. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? Like, what parts of you are you hiding? There may be things you're hiding now. There may be things that you've been hiding in the past. But Catherine, what do you hide? Do you still hide parts of you? What is it?
Yeah, I think for me, we're going to wade right in with the heavy stuff here, right?
Right, we
It's
don't mess around. Just if you're going to talk
it's
about it, talk
yeah,
about it fully.
shame. Really, it's the stuff that I am ashamed of, and I always say like no one can have anything on you if you haven't got it on yourself. So I try as much as I can to be really, honest and authentic and represent myself as wholly as I can to everybody I meet. But of course, I'm a human being, and so I do have. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like skeletons in the cupboard, but I know that there are things about which I'm deeply ashamed, and I think that's all like an unconscious thing for me. I don't really know where that comes from, but sometimes I get triggered into feelings of shame. I don't know if that even answers the question, really,
It
Pinky. But
does. And I would like to know, do you know, would you like to share what those things are? What are you ashamed of? Is it things that you've done in your life? Is it emotions that you feel? Is it interactions or decisions? Is it how people perceive you? Is it how you look? Like there's so many areas of our life that we can feel shame about. Is there anything in particular that for you find shame is really compelling and makes you want to just shut that stuff off, don't show it, hide it?
no, I can't tell you because I'm too ashamed. No.
Nice.
Well, I think it's like the stuff that we're conscious of we can overcome. I always say to people, somebody might say to me like, "Oh, do you mind if I ask you XYZ? Something that might be personal." It's like, no, I don't mind at all. You can ask me anything, is what I would always say.
Mm.
But it's the stuff that's underneath that, isn't it? It's the stuff that we don't even know about. And I think that, like, I think I said to you the other day when I was I'll just tell a little story. I went to my accountants to hand over some stuff and some figures, and he brought something up for me, and it was to do. I was about to be taxed on something that I didn't realize I was going to be taxed on, and I just felt right there, that sort of thing. I didn't even know that that was inside me, but I got really triggered into a feeling of shame because I felt like a criminal. I hadn't done anything wrong, but I felt like a criminal, and I just sat there and went bright red and had that awful feeling, like when you like your internal organs are swapping places. It's like yeah, and I was like, the part of me just thought, I want my mum, and like I thought, gosh, that's a really interesting. Poor accountant didn't know what to do with me. I nearly burst into tears, but
Oh,
yeah, it was that kind of thing. It's like I didn't even know that that was in there, but it was. I've gone red. See, I'm even talking about it. I've gone red now.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
great. I love it. I love
I
it.
felt
Well, let's all go
ashamed.
red together because this is what it is about for me. It's like bring it up. That's how you
Mm,
combat shame. Is you bring it up
mm,
and you say, I'm gonna look at you. Because
mm,
shame is constriction, hiding, all that, closet, bury it. And that's what makes it more powerful. But if you can face your shames and be like, I'm all in, let my face go red. Let me sweat.
yeah.
I get like sweat on my face and stuff. And and let me like fluff all my words up. Let me cry. Let me feel a really red face. I'm like you. I get really red face, like so embarrassing, like tomato face. And I'm like, let me just feel it. But shame to me is the most difficult and compelling emotion and controlling emotion that can contort you into all sorts of ridiculous shapes and just ruin your life. And I know it because I've been brought up with shame. Shame
Mm,
is my core wound, if you like. It's often a mechanism of control in life. So I was always made to feel ashamed about many things since I was a child, ashamed of who I truly am, ashamed of certain emotions, ashamed of my body as a female as I started to get more feminine and grown up.
mm,
And I had to hide that. Ashamed of anything like sexuality and relationships, ashamed of having emotions, ashamed of having a view, ashamed of everything that wasn't what my parents and culture wanted. And shame, like, it is the most crippling emotion.
mm.
But the thing I realize is the only thing that can help you overcome that is to face it. We talk
Yeah.
about you pacify your dragons. It's not about fighting the shame, but it's about, wow, I'm going to tame it. I'm going to tame this dragon. And like you said, it's unconscious, right? A lot of this is
Mm,
unconscious. You just get triggered. It's funny you mentioned what happened to you yesterday, 'cause I had a similar thing where I was having a conversation with a friend and it was about a financial decision I had made. And that friend was like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And immediately, even though I'm actually very comfortable in my decision and I made it from a very good place, because that person's judgment was like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." It triggered me into shame, and then I went to fight back. Like, why?
mm,
Why not? Why not? Like, I get all like my childish, like, but but it triggered me. It was again, it was I didn't think that would happen because I was very clear in my decision. I was very sure about what I'd done, yet somehow I felt ashamed about it when this person questioned me. And I think it brings up a lot of the childhood stuff, right? Of,
mm,
questioning what you're doing and what you're thinking and saying it's wrong, which is what makes us hide. I just want to do a couple of comments. So some lovely darling souls have been putting some things in here. What do we have? Sorry, Instagram. Seriously, they've got to do something about this. It's, the comments, it's, like, smaller than my thumb.
mm.
I'm trying to scroll through it. It's like I can't scroll through. I can't do it, and I can't read it at the same time because my thumb covers the comment. So give me a second, my lovelies, and we got some comments on here as well, which we will go to. Yep, so, Neela V Fitness. Yep, the stuff that we don't even know about is this. That's the unconscious stuff that she is resonating with. And
Mm.
Lisa Hunego, am I saying that right?
Hoonaho, hoonaho.
Hunaho, sorry. She said, I think Lisa is saying this in answer to the question of what are you ashamed of, which is my true self, or what are you hiding? My true self, Lisa. I'd love to know more about that. What is your true self? What is it made of? What does it feel like? What is it that you're hiding? And what does that feel like? What does it feel like to you, Catherine, when you hide any part of yourself? And we're going on a bit now more to that the sort of true self side of things, because I think that is something that a lot of us hide. What does that mean, and what does it feel like to hide away your true self? Would you like to share anything on that?
Oh gosh, that's a massive question, isn't it?
I
What
know.
is it? Yeah, thanks. Um,
You're welcome.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's differentiating like the difference, isn't it? That's the first hurdle, really.
Mm.
Um, and I think I can't remember who said, whether was it Marianne Williamson. That whole kind of like, we're more afraid of our greatness than we are of keeping, staying small.
Yeah,
And how difficult it is for us to say out loud and openly the stuff that we're not proud of ourselves for, but that we, the positive stuff, the
yeah,
giftedness that we have, the talents that we have, which are invariably innate. We're really okay with celebrating the stuff that we seek to acquire. So you might study for years to get a degree, and well done and all that kind of stuff, and you can comfortably boast about, look, here's my degree. But it's really difficult to go around and say, actually, I'm really proud of my compassion, or I'm, really impressed by my own benevolence. I mean, and,
yeah,
and those, to me, those are that's kind of like what you might call like higher minded qualities. I don't know what's your thinking.
yeah. No, I totally agree with that. We are that quote around we're more afraid of our light than our darkness. Hiding your full self, what does that mean to me? We were talking the other day, Catherine, about, we're all souls, and when we're children, we're much more pure, and that soul is much brighter and closer to the surface. Um, and to me, that's your full self, right? That vibrant little child that is energetic, excited about life, hasn't been constricted, has so much possibility, and brings light and love to every environment, and is just fully themselves. A child will have a tantrum in the middle of the supermarket because they don't care what you think. They're just going to express their truth in that moment. And we've stopped doing that because we're too busy worrying what people think. So I'm going to not express that part of me. I'm not going to express how I feel. I'm not going to express. And we shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down, like, fragment, fragment, put away, hide. But a child is whole. To me, being your full self is being whole. It's about my gifts, my talents, like you're saying, my genius, all the things that are great about me that sometimes we're afraid to even celebrate. It's also about, do you know what? I feel angry today. I'm scared today. I'm ashamed today. It's also about all of that. I want to have a tantrum today. I might have it in an adult form. I'll be honest, I have my moments, but I'm gonna I have
Oh
my
God.
moments. I'm a human. But to me, being your full self is really about all of that. And this is something I've been learning really strongly recently. It's integration of all of your parts. The demons, the wounds, the fears, the shames, the emotions you don't want to show. Bring it all in, your past, your history, your story, your traumas that you might be ashamed
Mm,
to speak about. It's like, now I'm all of it. And I'm my greatness. And I'm great at doing what I do. And I love doing this. And I'm kind. And I'm compassionate. And I really resonate with what you're saying about the difficulty of showing those sides and really owning those sides. Because
mm,
I'm a massive self defeater all day, every day. I'm like, you're not good at this. You messed that up. You screwed this up. You're not good at that. Someone else is better than you. Blah, 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 blah. And even yesterday, this came up. Someone messaged me and they're like, Pinky, you're so great on video. And I actually said, I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, because I think it's arrogant to say, because that's that thing, right? How dare you say these things? I said, I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but I know. And I said, but I need to just say it because I'm learning to own my gifts. Yeah,
mhm,
I'm great on camera, actually. This is one of my gifts and I love it. So why don't I own that and be like, I'm full, I'm whole. I'm not going to hide that I'm proud of my gifts and my talents that I've been blessed with. So I really resonate with what you're saying there as well about like owning your greatness. We
mm,
find it so hard to own our greatness. We want to be all humble and meek. And there's definitely a place for being humble. Absolutely. There's a difference between arrogance and confidence as well. But confidence, you look at the people who do great things in the world, they're often very confident in their truth. They
mm,
fall out of it, but they'll own it. And David Bowie, I watched, we were talking
Mm.
about him, we love him. Um, and he did a video and he was sat there and he is to me, David Bowie, great example of someone who is not hiding and is being their full self. And has integrated all parts. It's like, this is how I look, this is how I work, this is what I do, this is my style. And he knows his wounds and he's integrated all of it. And I'm like, that is the goal. Like, I'm sure he had issues because no one's perfect, but he's a really cool
Oh,
example of someone who's being his full self.
yeah. Sorry, I think this is really important as well. It's because what the beauty, he's such a great example, David Bowie. Um,
Yeah.
is that he has enough courage as well to say, like, when he needs to shift or when he needs to change, so he doesn't get entrenched in any particular identity,
Mm,
so he'll evolve himself. So, and he would probably look back and like we all do, as we get older, we look back and think some of the stuff we did was a bit daft or something like that, but
mm.
he does that with integrity all the way through. It's that kind of thing, because sometimes we continue to persist with making a mistake, don't we, even though we've judged ourselves at it being a mistake, because we
Yeah,
can't deal with the shame of saying we were wrong, or
absolutely.
whoops, I
Yeah.
was misguided that time, or I screwed up.
And what is it in you or in anyone who does that? What do you think that allows us? Because I think that's really important. That's a really important part of being a whole integrated human being. It's part of self-care, is being able to allow yourself to fail and not then hate yourself for it.
Hmm.
Allow yourself to evolve, change, and grow and not hate who you once were. I think that's really important. And that's something that I struggle with.
Hmm.
But what
Yeah.
is the quality within you? Because this is all about being your full self. I make mistakes. I'm a human. Of course I do. And by the way, sorry, people watching me are like, why has she got her eyes closed? This happens a lot. If you've never seen me before, I am weird. What are you going to say? But I do like to, uh, when I close my eyes, when I'm doing something intuitive, it just helps me to focus. Otherwise, I get a bit distracted by Catherine's beauty on the other side of my screen and all the things going on. So it helps me to focus. But focus now. I've totally lost my focus. But what was I saying, Catherine? Help me out, darling.
We were talking about like how important it is to, when you recognize that you've made a mistake, to be okay with it. I mean, one of the first things when I have like massive breakthroughs in my understanding, or like personal development stuff, the first thing I do, I have like a second of going, oh my God, and then straight it was like, oh God, why didn't I work that out before? I can't believe it's taken me 50 years or whatever it is to
Yeah,
see what was going on there. And I just think, oh, back off yourself, be gentle, because that's the child, the little child that doesn't have all the answers. We're all of us like parts of arrested children, aren't we, even in our adulthood? And it's those bits, we're kind of waiting for them to sort of catch up, and parts of
yeah.
us are more advanced and more parental, if you like, and parts of us are still very childlike. And when that little child catches up to the parent, the first thing I do is scold it for not being quicker. Oh dear.
I'm totally with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. Why weren't you quicker? Why didn't you know it already? Why didn't you succeed first time? All of that stuff, absolutely. And so I think, this is why being your full self is also really very much linked to self-care and compassion for self. Um, there's a video I watched of, I think her name is Zoe Saldana. Don't quote me completely. She's the one who plays Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy, for anyone who watches that. And she's obviously played other things as well. She had a video that really summed up where I would love to get to. And she said, I love what I do. I love how I do it. I love the way I make my mistakes. I love the way I learn. I love the way that I go through that process of improving. And she's like, I don't want to be anyone else but me. And I'm like, man, she's nailed it. She's nailed it. Somehow she's nailed it. And I just thought that to me is what it really means to stop hiding and be your full self and really love all of you, your process, your mistakes, your learning, everything, and integrate it.
Mm.
I feel like that's what for me this is about, is a process of integration. And what that means is, yeah, all the parts, and I see it like, I see the human being as an instrument, and we're learning to play ourselves, and there's no manual for that. But you can't make beautiful music in the world if you don't know how to play the instrument. And the instrument is like a harp, because there's so much complexity to it. It's not just like a two-string thing. It's like there's the mind, and there's the conditioning, and there's the wounds, and there's childhood, then there's your gifts and your talents, and there's so many elements and all the emotions, and learning to bring all of that in. Now you've got the whole instrument, and learning to navigate life with that and play it and know that you've got to have the high notes and the low notes in order to make music. And so that again is part of the allow it all, bring it all in. And that for me is being full. That is being full. We've got a comment here from Lisa again: being ashamed to shine bright and bring my true value to the world. So Lisa says, so this is part of what she's hiding, is being ashamed to shine bright and bring my true value to the world. Catherine, what do you think about that? What would you say to
Well,
Lisa?
I know this lady, and she's phenomenal. But that's a really other thing as well, isn't it? It's if we could see ourselves through the eyes of those people who truly appreciate us,
Mm.
we couldn't dare not show up, could we? Because others see our value. I mean, Lisa's she's amazing. She's an amazing woman. So yeah, shine bright, Lisa. Shine bright and
It's
proud.
interesting. Yeah. So shame to shine bright and bring my value to the world. And immediately that tells me that's the thing. As a child, someone dampened that light in you. Someone didn't like your light.
Mm,
Someone, in some way, shape, or form, made you think, or you created a story or assumption around the environment that me being a bright light is not a good thing. Me being too happy, too shiny, too much, you know. As another quote I heard: if someone says you're too much, tell them go find something less. Like don't. Or the other one is shine, and if people don't like your light, give them some shades. I love all these. I love all these, but it's so true. And but at some point, Lisa, I'd suggest, because, and I don't just say this for you, but that's just the human condition, is in our childhood, we all go through this process where we come here with this beautiful light of truth of who we are, and we're bright and shiny and unique and beautiful and full of potential and possibility and awe and inspiration and curiosity and love. And then the world goes, nope, don't want that, can't have that here. The world is a serious place, and we just need to think about things logically and clamp it down, hide it, hide it, hide it. And then you get to the point, as Lisa's saying, where you're like, I'm ashamed to show that now. I'm ashamed to be my true self.
mm,
And that is such a shame. And to me, that's the most painful thing in the world. People often have said to me, like, how come you keep going for what you want, and how did you not do the things that everyone else wanted you to do, and so on. I've had a lot of pressures in my life from my cultural perspective. You got to get married, you got to be like this, you got to think like that, you got to look like that. And in my heart it wasn't my truth, and I just kept saying no, no, no. And do you know what? That was hard, it was painful. But do you know what's more painful for me personally is waking up and living a life that isn't true to me, and not being my fullest self, and not letting that soul, that seed, plant and come out and shine in this world, because that's what it's there to do. And I think, Lisa, you probably know that it doesn't go away, right? That little who you truly are, I'm sorry, but you can't get rid of it. So you might as well be it. You might as
mm.
well be it. But there's so much fear around it. What are people going to think? What if they reject me? And my sense so far in my journey, which I still have a very long way to go, but my sense is that when you be your true fullest self in your soul and express your truth and own all parts of you, you become so whole and powerful and healed. The definition of healing is to be whole, that you will be able to handle anyone's rejection, slander, judgment that you're currently worried about, because you will be a different person handling that. When you're your full self, you are very powerful. So these things coming at you, they just don't touch you as much. That's my sense. I don't know, Catherine, does that make any sense? Do you resonate with that? Would you, or am I just chatting rubbish?
No, you don't ever chat rubbish. You're lovely. But yeah, I know it's interesting that, like you said, like the real shame is when we don't show up as ourselves.
Mm,
You know, that's it, isn't it? It's whether, like, shame is an emotion or is it a noun, if that makes sense. And the real shame is when we don't show up as ourselves. And
it
but
is.
it is in the perhaps in the culture that we live in,
Mm,
it is it is very difficult to be that shining light when the people that you're surrounded by are perhaps more entrenched in the darkness, the negative. This is not about like positive and negative, though, is it? It's not about again, it's not about just being some bright shiny thing. It's about, like you said a moment ago, I think integration.
Yeah.
Um,
Truth.
yeah, integration and truth, and
Wholeness.
embracing
Sorry.
all of it. So
Shut up.
sometimes, you know,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. Sometimes life is just dungy, isn't it? You know, it just is. But you know, we all see. I've met like countless people who are just so kind of like shiny and fluffy, and they're all kind of like, oh, lovely on the surface,
Mm.
but there's a kind of lack of integration of the darkness of stuff as well. So, and I kind of not going to say these people are universally untrustworthy. I don't mean it like that, but they don't feel like safe people to me. You know, the safest people are the ones who can visit both ends of the, like, you know, the emotional spectrum, or because they're also, this is a bit of a thing for me. I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit now, but it's
Mm.
that thing when like if somebody says, like, you know, how are you, and you say, well, actually today I'm feeling a bit flat, or you know, something sad happened for me yesterday, you know, pet passed away, you know, I mean, something, whatever it is, and then that person just jumps in with their fix. Oh,
Mm.
well, you know, you need this or you need that, or, and I just find that it's so much nicer if somebody just says, oh, you know, I'm sorry to hear that, is there anything I can do to support you?
Yeah.
No, I'm cool, because I'm okay in the emotion of sadness around this loss, or I'm okay in the emotion of confusion around my situation. It's appropriate for where I am. But
Yeah.
people are so uncomfortable with the, like you say, what you might call the darker side or the more negative side of life. And I think that's like a real thing for me.
Mm. And that is wholeness. There is
Mm.
no such thing as light without dark. Positive without negative, wet without dry. You would not know one or the other, one without the other. It's the way the universe works. The material universe is based on complementary pairs, and exactly, you cannot be whole until you can integrate all sides of you. And it's so interesting that you bring that example up, because this literally happened to me the other day, where, because I'm similar to you, it's like I want to be real, I want to hold it all, I want to, like, but I'm not great at it yet, because the other day I had a let's just say I had a little crack in my heart for a certain reason, and it really hurt. And I was like, something's wrong. I've got to fix it. It was me doing it to myself. Fix
Yeah.
the pain. Fix the pain. There's got to be a solution here. Do something. You got all these tools on your wall. Do some tools. Like, fix the pain. And it's like, and thankfully, I have so many wonderful friends in my life who bring me back to center and truth and say, "You're human, Pinks. You're human. It's okay to feel that.
Mm.
It's okay to have a broken heart. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel not good enough. It's okay." And I'm like, wow, yeah, actually is. But that's a big lesson for me. And I think the reason I reject that part of myself and hide that part and don't want to experience it is because my trauma from childhood is that emotional pain just leads to more emotional pain and more
Right.
pain and pain and pain and pain. So I was never taught, as many people aren't, to handle pain in a healthy way, to regulate my emotions in a healthy way. I was never taught that. So when there's pain, emotional pain, or even physical pain, I can't handle it. I'm like, oh, shut it down, fix it. Don't want it. Ah, this is really terrifying. It's actually not, but that's my pattern. And I'm still running it all these years later. So that's a part of me that I'm trying to fix. And as soon as you try and fix it, you've taken a part of you out of you, and you're now disintegrated. Because I don't want that part. I don't want it. So now I'm making pieces. And then you wonder why you're not in peace, because you're just in pieces. Here's my pain over there, fix it over there. Here's my happiness over there. Here's what I really want that I don't want to say, and I'm going to put it over there. And what is left? What is left of you? So yeah, that I really vibe with what you're saying. I think it's really important about wholeness. Integration is the darkness too, because everybody has it.
Mm-hmm.
And with this whole hippie happy positivity movement,
Yeah.
it's very, yeah, right. It's very
It's not my cup of tea, not really. I gave it. I found I came across a blog I'd written a couple of days ago about that very thing. Where I went to a networking event. This is about 2 or 3 years ago, and self confidence has really been always been a thing for me. And so I went along to this thing. I was on my own, and it's quite daunting, right? It's about 80, 90 people there. And I was thinking, oh God, you feel a bit like all your stuff just comes up, doesn't it? You're triggered into all your incompetencies and all this kind of stuff. But I thought, well, I'm bound to be nervous. This is like an appropriate set of emotions for what I'm experiencing. So I went up. I found a lady that was standing on her own as well. So I went over and introduced myself and said hello. And she said, "Well, how are you feeling?" And I said, "Well, I'm a bit nervous, really." because that was the truth. And then straight away she's rummaging in her bag for her back flower remedies to, you've got this will stop you having panic attacks. I thought, I'm not having a panic attack. I'm just nervous, about meeting people that I've never met before, or how I'm going to represent myself and all that. And it was just really interesting, that her discomfort was triggered by mine. And so going back to Lisa's point earlier, about that
Mhm.
kind of feeling ashamed to shine your light, it's a difficult thing when people around you are kind of somehow or another, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, are always trying to shut you down and make you make sense to their model of the world. And I think
Mm.
that is why it is so hard to represent yourself fully, because
Oh,
people are they're not meaning to take chunks out of you, or change you. It's just the power of their own, if you might, well, it's going to use the word dysfunction or discomfort, is that they need you to make sense to their model of the world, and they'll do whatever they can to make that happen. So standing up and out of that takes a tremendous amount of courage and persistent application, doesn't it? Because
mhm.
you've already got that stuff going on inside you. You don't need somebody else to do it as well. So yeah, that's, don't know where I was going with that, but
Amazing.
just
Beautifully
coming up.
put. Absolutely beautifully put. I could never put that better. And that is a really key part of it, right? Like you, when you shine and when you become what other people are not expecting you to be, it does make them uncomfortable. It really does. And I don't think you can get away from that. You just then have to make a choice. Is my
Yep.
life about making them comfortable, or is my life about living my truth? And then you go do what you want to do. And I tell you what, neither of those is easy. Neither of those is going to make you joyful all along the way. But one of the things that Gabor Mate says, I love this guy, and he says, if you have to choose guilt or resentment, choose guilt. So rather feel a bit guilty and face the guilt of like, I've gone on my own path and I'm being who I truly am, and maybe the people around me don't like it and they're making me feel guilty and I feel guilty for being different or whatever.
Hmm.
Choose that over the resentment that you will feel if you hide your truth and continue to try and please other people just to keep the peace. Because the war inside you is going to eat you up. Over
Mm.
time, it is going to fester. Resentment is a really horrible emotion as well, of like, what if I could and then you'll resent yourself, then you'll resent those people, and it's just this toxic feeling, right, of like, because you didn't live your truth. And to me, it's like, rather take the short term pain of going through the, like, pull the plaster off, like, oh, I'm
Mm.
gonna live my truth and it's gonna be uncomfortable and people aren't gonna like it. But then people will get used to it, versus I'm gonna try and keep the peace now and then I'm gonna suffer for the rest of my life, because I'm sorry, you will. If your soul has a calling, has an expression, has a truth, if your heart is feeling something, if you've been through something and you're just holding it in, holding it in, holding it in, it's going to explode. Maybe I don't know, Catherine, am I too far to say that? Is that
I
not
don't
right?
think so. No,
Right,
I
just
don't. I think you're absolutely right. That just brought something else up. So I'm a therapist, so I work with people, like, on an emotional level, physical level, all that kind of thing. When they come to see me, they have to fill out like a health questionnaire, which gives a little bit of medical background, that kind of stuff. And quite often, you'll see some people who are really at peace, and there's a very little um, collection of these like medical items in their history, if you like. And then other people is like, it's operation after operation, medication on top of medication. And for me, I don't know, this is like tenuously linked to what you were saying. It's like they're not kind of paying attention to what the world is showing them about who they are either. So like your reality, the reality that you see is of your own creation. So if that kind of stuff is feeding you back, if that keeps happening to you, it's trying to get your attention to do something. Sorry, it was linked when I was listening to you talk, and I can't remember what the link was now,
no,
so I
I
don't know if
got
you
the
can pull
link.
that
It's
back.
amazing. Or the bit that really struck to me, what you were saying, is that thing of like, the people who are at peace have not had as many physical illnesses and issues. And so what is that? Are they living their truth, living their full self? So they're integrated, they're aligned, which then affects their physical health, which I think it really, really, really
Totally,
does.
yeah.
Is that what that was, that you've noticed the difference between people who are at peace and those who aren't? Is that what it was? If
Yeah, it
not,
was.
we can still talk about that because I think that's really interesting. So,
I mean, yeah, and it's only my take on it, right? So that doesn't make it absolute truth or anything,
yeah.
but it does seem there was definitely a link, Pinky, and I really can't remember what it
That's
was.
all right. Maybe it will come back to us as we continue. I'll just see if there's loads of lovely souls on Instagram. Hello, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Neela says, thank you so much for this. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for bringing your energy. Everybody's on all the platforms. We've got quite a few people all over the place here, which is fantastic.
Wow.
So being your full self, stop hiding. Where do we want to go with it next, Catherine? I think what I would
Mm.
love to explore is a bit. Are there any examples from your life or any real tips you can give as well on like when you've had to choose to be your full self, shine who you truly are in the face of resentment or in the face of objection and so on, and people not accepting you. Are there any examples of that, and how did you do it? What did you do, like when your heart was saying go this way, pick me, go this way, and the world is saying no, 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 don't you dare, and even another part of you, your mind, is saying, oh, that's going to be scary. Have you had that? What did you do? What do you do?
I just about every day, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think my career choice is a little bit weird. So for people that don't know, I do colon hydrotherapy, which is effectively clearing out the last part of a digestive tract, just dealing with people's crap, really.
Hmm.
And when I discovered that through my own personal journey, so that really changed my life. But when I decided that that's what I wanted to do as a career, which is about 17, 18 years ago, everybody said, "Oh, what do you want to do that for? That's bonkers. No one's gonna go for that, or what a load of um, that kind of thing." But I just knew, even like stacked up, all the logic just said, "Well, don't do that, don't do that. Nobody's doing it. It's a bit weird. Everyone's gonna think there's something odd about you." Well, that's not new. Um, but I just knew. I just knew that that was what I was going to do, and I did it, and I've never regretted it. Not a single day. It's the longest I've ever done anything in my life. You know, because I'm a bit of a kind of like try things, so I don't like that, try it, so that kind of thing. But this, no, it's absolutely, because I know it's true. That's kind of what I'm here to do, is to help people clear their crap out, and on all sorts of levels, and see what's hiding underneath.
Yeah.
So
And did any of those people who were like, "Oh, that wasn't a good thing to do," or "Why would you want to do that?" Do any of them reflect now on what you've
I
achieved
doubt
and
it,
where you're
because
at?
they're probably not in my sphere anymore, because that's something else that happens, isn't it? Which touches on the subject here, that when you start standing in your truth, doesn't matter how strange that looks to other people, those people that don't resonate will just fall away, and sometimes that's really painful. It's painful because there's loss, but it's not a
Yeah.
reason to not take the next steps. It just isn't, because look, you and I now are connected, which we wouldn't have been. I've only been acquainted with you for like 6 months, but that wouldn't have happened if I'd have listened to those people back there. I wouldn't be the person I am. I wouldn't be talking to you. So you
Mm.
lose things, but you gain things, don't you? And that's just the movement of life.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that you can lose things, particularly people and even people who are very close to you, I think that is actually one of the things that will stop people,
Mm.
because that is scary. And actually, I even do it now. Like, there are many areas of my life where I've continually said no and I've gone for my truth, and it's been very difficult. But it's getting to the point where I can see that there will be other things that my heart and my full self and my truth is calling me to do, that is going to create a bigger step away from my old identity or my old people, all of that sort of stuff. And that is really scary. And it's like, it could be very easy for me to find excuses and stay where I
Mm.
am and keep being who I am and or who I was. And it would be very, very easy to do that because I don't want to face the pain of that loss.
Especially when it's family, when it's people that are really big players in your life.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to that thing, that's their agenda. That's you making sense of their world for them. It's nothing to do with you, really.
No. And isn't it a shame though that, and I think this is common for a lot of people, the ones closest to you who you think are going to be the ones that love you most unconditionally and want you to shine the most unconditionally, actually, I think are often the ones that don't.
Mm.
And that is such a strange position. Like I can't even almost hold that in my head because it's like, but it doesn't make sense. Like you're supposed to love me the most. Why do you not want me to be my truth? And then strangers will just be like cheering for you and your wholeness every day, all day. It's I don't know why it is like that, but I think where I get to with that as well though is that like my journey is between me and my maker. So yes, I will have lots of people around me, whether they be family, friends, whatever, people I just meet in for once or twice. But the truth is, my journey is between me and my maker. And so there's no distinction, family, friends. Do you know what I mean? People, great, all good. But the only person I answer to is my own creative spirit, my own truth, my own what I call God, whatever that is. That's the only one I answer to. And so I just keep going back there, keep going back there, keep going back there. And I think that helps me to navigate the human experience where people are batting against you. And it's like it doesn't matter. It's me and my maker. That's it.
Mm.
If he's cool with it, I'm cool with it. If he's telling me I got to do this, I got the truth coming through, I'm gonna do it. And when I say he, I don't know what it is. For me, I connect with something greater, and I feel like there's something there. But for me, that's it. Like being my full self has really been about coming home to that as well, and saying my journey is me, my soul, and my maker. That's it. And yeah, I'm having a great time with everyone else, but that's what I'm here to experience. Um, and yeah, I don't know why this thing is coming into my head now, but I think you might have said it earlier about, I think it was when you were talking about you knew what you wanted to do all this time ago. Um, you know, and it's really important that you do it because otherwise you are not whole, you're not being authentic, you're not being true, and you're not expressing your unique gifts and talents to the world. And that really hurts. Um, but this thing that I think some people have, which a friend was talking to me about yesterday, is very common, is when we talk about that, people say, I don't know what that is. I don't
Mm.
know my heart. I don't know my soul. I don't. So how can you be your full self if you don't know who your full self is? If you don't know what this core part of you is? Do you have any experience with that? Like even with your clients, for example, when they come in, do you have people who are like, they don't know how, because you can't be full without that part. That
Crikey, that's the mega question, isn't it? I mean, that to me is about the relationship with the heart, isn't it? Um, and lots of us, for varying reasons, are heartbroken, like you said earlier, like a piece of your heart. And it's to know that part of you first. And oh God, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest.
mm,
And maybe it's like it's a timing thing. I mean, some people are motivated to get in touch with that aspect of themselves when life just gets so bad. There's no there's no other choice. When the soothing of the discomfort is, it just doesn't work anymore, in whatever form that might come in. Like, because we all have those things, particularly when we're kind of younger, don't we? I mean, like, getting drunk, or I'm not even going to say what I did. Um, oh my
all
God,
right,
I'm too
we'll
ashamed.
we'll have that conversation later.
It's not fit for
Offline,
human
sorry guys,
consumption.
offline.
But it is that there is, there's that kind of certainty, like, because we want, as human beings, we like certainty, don't we? Because we like to know how it
Mm,
goes.
yeah.
But when it's that kind of heart certainty, that's a different kind of feeling, isn't it?
Mm,
It's consolidating. You
mm,
just feel strong in it, even if it doesn't make any sense to your own head. It
yeah.
just, you just have that strength in that sense of where you're going, or what it is you want to do, or who you are.
Mm,
And yeah, and then set about creating a life around that supports it,
mm,
recognizing that you're going to have hurdles,
mm,
and
absolutely.
that doesn't mean that that's not the right path, because it's like, that's that's not how it goes either, does it? It's not like, oh, this is true for you, okay, it's plain sailing now for the rest of my life. That's not part of it either, is it?
No, I was talking to a friend, and we were reflecting on a line that I had, which is you choose your hard. Everything is hard, but you choose your hard. It's hard to live a
Mm.
fake life. It's hard to live your truth. It's hard to do a job. It's hard to run your own business.
Yeah.
It's hard to do what everyone wants you to do. It's hard to do what you want to do. there's no easy option in life. And I think that's one of the realizations I had to come to recently, was like, at some point I think I thought life was easy, or I
Mm-hmm.
expected life to be easy, and then it started slapping me in the face, and I was like, excuse me, I didn't make that agreement. What is this all about? I thought for some reason it was meant to be easy. I don't know where I got that idea from. And I was like, no, life's actually pretty tough. Life's actually pretty hard. It's wonderful, but you're going to be challenged
Yeah,
all
but
the
that's the
time.
difference, isn't it? It doesn't mean like when you're in alignment with all of that, you hit the hurdles and you just recognize them as part of the journey,
Yeah,
as opposed to it being
yeah,
part of the problem. And
that's it.
that's like a different way of looking at it as well, isn't it? So it's not like it's not easy. It doesn't mean it's hard, but it's just kind of right,
Yeah,
which makes
that's
it
it.
easier.
Yeah. And the thing I've noticed, because I do resilience training, and looking into people who are resilient, and just reflecting on myself as well, is that the times I'm my most resilient is when I'm being my fullest, most authentic self, and I'm going for what is in my heart and my truth. If I go for something I don't care about, you give me one little pat on the head and I'll fall down broken,
Hmm.
because I don't have the resilience and the strength to
Yeah,
handle the challenges. But when I'm going for my truth, I will face that pain. I will face that shame. I will do the thing that makes me so scared that I can't even breathe, but
yeah,
I will still do it. And that's the resilience, because I'm being called by something greater and higher, by my truth, my soul, what I'm here to create and express. And that's the power of it. But yes, it means I have to walk an unconventional path. Yes, it means a lot of people don't understand me. Yes, it means I judge myself like, oh my God, what if you got it all wrong, Pinks? What if you got it all wrong? What if you're actually meant to do what everyone else told you to do? What if you're actually meant to go and get married to the person that your parents want you to marry, and have babies, and learn how to cook Indian food, and just get a basic job, and that's it, and then look after your in-laws? And what if that was right, and you going off on this crazy path of crazy dreams is actually the stupidest thing? I question that sometimes, but not a lot now, because I'm like, there's no way this isn't right. But it happens. It happens. And I don't even know where I was going with that. What was I even talking about? I've
just
lost
be, I
you.
think, like being pulled off your path, really. And when you know, and it gets, even though you've got challenges, it's still, they're easier to overcome because
You're
you've got your
you're in your
eyes on the
power.
prize, kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very common. I don't know if you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Mm.
where they have for people who don't know, basically it says that we have this hierarchy of needs as a human, and it's at the base, it's like security and food and well-being, like physical health, whatever. Then it goes up to things like relationships and belonging. And then at the top, it says self-actualization, which to me is about living your true nature and
Yeah.
purpose and your soul, and giving your gifts to this world of what you're here to do and create. And someone studied it, and he said self-actualized people, sorry, resilient people, they go straight for the top, because the nature of the hierarchy is to say we need to climb it.
Mm.
But actually, some of the most amazing successful people in the world, and the most resilient people, they said, allow all those steps, I'm going straight for my truth at the top. I'm going to go to become a realized full being. And so they flip it on its head, and then the
Hmm.
rest falls into place. They get money, they get relationships, they get environments, they get belonging, they get security, they get all this stuff comes to them, but they go straight for the top. And I find that fascinating, and it's something that I resonate with. um but it's complex. You tell me go and have no money and no food and still try and be self-actualized. I'm probably not that at that level of mastery that I could do it, but clearly they can. I can't. Let's just be honest, I wouldn't be able to do that. But some people can, and they will keep, but because they've got the resilience, because they're going for something higher. And I think that's why so many people feel so downtrodden and struggling in life, because all their energy is going to a lower goal that isn't their
Hmm.
truth. And so every time it knocks you, it hurts. Every time it slaps you, you fall down. You don't want to get back up again, because you don't even care about this thing that you're doing and living. And until you're ready to face that and say, whoa, I've got to be honest here. I'm not being authentic. I'm
Mm.
hiding my truth. I'm not going for what I really want. I'm not being honest. Until you're ready to face that, then you're just going to keep living it. And
Yeah.
maybe some people aren't meant to face it in this lifetime. I don't know. What do you think, Catherine?
Well, I don't know. I was listening to you there. I mean, what we're talking about sounds like everybody has to be some kind of like world leader or, fantastic inventor, and it's nothing to do with that. I mean, it's just to do with being. who you are. It's not about like a massive achievement or a creative genius in the sense of like developing something that's never been seen before. It doesn't have to be like you can just it could be like making buns at home. It could be growing a garden. It can be having a nurturing, responsible, loving relationship. That could be your focus. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the most important things you could do in life, I would think. Do you know what I mean? So it's easy for us to think it's about
Yeah.
high achieving again, and it's not. It's just about being
Mm,
who you are, and that's actually sometimes the more simple that is,
mm,
the better it is. Perhaps
mm.
we're overly seduced by a sense of it being outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? Like, like having to achieve something to be whole. I don't know. I think I've confused
No,
myself
you've
now.
said absolutely everything. And again, there's no such thing as coincidences. And when you work in the realms of magic, like we do, we know that this stuff happens. But basically, everything you just said is on my notes here, which are all over the place because I wrote them in the dark while I was sleeping because I get all my ideas in the middle of the night and I'm like, I don't want to put the light on. So I have a pad and I write in the dark. I'm telling way too many things about me that are just weird, but it's quite good actually. I can still read it in the morning. But it's about that because I had this exact conversation with someone yesterday. What is my calling? What is my truth? I don't know. Maybe some of us just don't have one. But it's like, no, I have a friend whose calling is very truly to be a homemaker.
Mm,
She will make you the most delicious meals ever and she will love doing it. She'll fluff your pillow. She'll make sure your chocolate is at the right temperature. Your she'll take the
mm.
dogs for the walk and nurture the baby and she loves it.
Yeah.
That's her fullness. What a
Yeah.
gift. That's for
Beautiful.
her to bring to the world. And it's got nothing to do with, like you say, being all grandiose and changing the world. That's because your truth is your truth, and the variety in this world, all the different things, different people, we need all of that. But the point is, what is your truth? And that could be anything. And the analogy always comes to my mind of like, because what this person said to me yesterday was, well, what if maybe I don't have my calling, everyone else has a calling, I don't have a calling. And I was like, I don't believe that's true, to be honest. And to me, it's I usually use the acorn example, right? The acorn has within it everything it needs to become an oak tree. And I believe every soul has within it everything it needs to
Mhm.
become whatever it is meant to be in this lifetime and to contribute whatever it's meant to contribute. Its genius, its talents, its natural abilities, maybe is a better word. Because again, genius, we think, oh, that's grandiose. No, what's your natural ability? Are you naturally really good at taking care of people? Are
Mm,
you naturally really good at having a warm, loving, beautiful relationship with someone? Do you love does it just come so naturally to you to do that? Or are you naturally good at standing on a stage and talking to people and inspiring people? Are you naturally good at fixing a car? I don't know. What do you find just comes to you naturally? That's your blueprint. That's
mhm,
your full self. That's what you're here to create and express and share into the world. And the acorn, it's going to be the oak tree. So if whatever you have in you is going to be that thing. But the problem is, along the way, you're trying to be a plum tree. You're trying to be a pear
mhm.
tree. I'm trying to be a
Yeah.
Christmas tree. Do you know what I mean? And then you say, I don't know my calling. And then you're fragmented. You're not full. You're not whole. You're not integrated. You're not authentic. And then you feel pain.
And that's the advantage of the acorn, right? Because its blueprint is there, and it doesn't actually it doesn't have that. Am I meant to be a cherry tree? It just is. I'm an acorn. I'm an acorn, and I'm
Yeah.
going to become an oak tree, and I'm really okay with that.
Yeah.
That
And
that's something else that we don't do, isn't it? Because we're
uh,
distracted by all
and
the
I
other things.
for whatever reasons, humans have been given this level of consciousness that is almost too advanced for us to even handle. And it's like Satguru, who I follow, says he's like, what has been the greatest gift for the human, which is our extreme level of consciousness, it's actually become our greatest pain because we don't know how to handle it because we're doing all of that. Should
Mm,
I be this? Should I? But like I say, the acorn, the tree, the animals, they don't live in that world. But for whatever reason, the human gift of consciousness and awareness and intellect and memory and imagination and creativity, these are our gifts. But we're using them to slap our own faces a lot of the time but I think that's our journey, right? Is to learn how to use those gifts to actually master your life and yourself. Um, but yeah, it's that questioning, and being okay with the answer. If you're saying like, oh, I'm an acorn, but your parents wanted you to be a Christmas tree, well, you're an acorn, so what you can do about that, you know And that's where it gets complex as well, right? And you negate your own truth and you become fragmented, and then you're not whole, you're not full, and then you feel that pain.
Hmm.
um Neela says, thank you for being so genuine and real. You're very welcome, darling. She says, I can't even put into words how much this can help a lost soul.
Oh,
Oh, we appreciate you so much and your kind words. That means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you for saying that.
mm,
I really appreciate that.
wonderful.
Because I think a lot of people are lost.
Mm,
A lot of
yeah.
people are lost. A friend was saying to me the other day, she ran a workshop with people probably around our age, and just adult people, and have lived a bit of life, and she asked the question, what would be your ideal life and day, or something like that, like what do you want and what do you love, what do you and they didn't know how to answer it, and they said, some of
Yeah.
them didn't, they've never even asked themselves that question. And that's okay, right? Everyone on their own journey, but they didn't even ever, because you're so busy just trying to live in this unconscious repeat pattern and
Mm.
just survival, and then, but when do you wake up from the slumber, the matrix, and be like, whoa, hang on, and then suddenly everything becomes a little more crystal clear, and you're like, wow, what am I doing here, what am I doing here? Um,
Yeah, and then of course you have to navigate that path from that realization to the next one, and I think that that can be quite challenging as well, because in that position it feels like you're going to like lose or disintegrate everything that you've already created about who you think you are. So, and that's another reason to get back into the matrix, isn't it, if you like, because you think,
oh
oh
yeah,
wow, that's too big,
it's
that's
too
too
hard.
scary. Yeah, the world just looks a little bit too unfamiliar for me in that place. When you
Yeah.
were talking a minute ago, I just had something pop into my head, which is something I heard a lot when I was little growing up, and it was this one. I expect that loads of people are familiar with this one. You're a bit full of yourself, aren't you?
Oh
What the hell's
yeah,
going on with that?
yeah,
It's like, why would I
yeah.
want to be full of anybody else? You know, because that's just bonkers, isn't it? Oh yeah, I wanted to be full of myself. I still do.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you've carried that. It's interesting because I've actually lost that as I've gotten older.
Mm,
I don't know if you have any insight on why that might be. I'm like, right, coach me, give me therapy. Like, but it's like, I used to be much more full of myself when I was younger, and it was easier. And even in like early 20s and stuff, I was very much confident and happy in myself and being my full self for no other reason that I enjoyed being me. I just enjoyed being me and being what I loved and experiencing what I loved. It wasn't anything to do with anyone else. And as I get older, and I have to say, I think the social media has not helped me at all. But now I've started comparing, and now I started more and more shutting off, and not thinking that who I truly am, being full of me, is not enough. But those wounds, I guess, were always there. They just seem to have come to the surface more. But with that being said, what I am finding is that I'm relearning the lessons, and I'm now becoming full of myself again, bit by bit. But I'm doing it from a much more mature place
mm,
now. There's something about the energy of wholeness and self-acceptance, and comfort, and gratitude for everything about me, even the ugly bits and the shameful bits and the scary bits and the annoying bits, all of it. I'm learning to bring that all in and be whole and be full of all of it, including the, like, I am really good at this, and I love that. But I'm doing it, the energy of it is different. The child energy or the immature energy of that used to be a lot more sporadic and a little bit crazy. Now it's like I'm maturing like a fine wine. I can't believe I just said that about myself. That just sounds so absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like, that just sounded really like I'm maturing like a fine wine. I'm making myself puke. But it was just an analogy. I'm not saying like I'm a fine wine, but it's that I'm starting to mature. The
mm,
flavor is seeping in. It's taking more depth. It's more, I've got more depth, I've got more mastery over it. It's just more mature. That's the only word I can think about. But I'm still very much on the early days of that journey, because those sorts of integrations only started to hit me recently. But this is what Carl Jung said. He said, you spend the first half of your life building a healthy ego,
mm,
and then you spend the second half of your life dismantling it, basically, and
mhm,
coming home to who you truly are. And that is what I think I'm going through, is that I'm now like, okay, all of that, who I thought I was, how I was living, all of these things, it's time to shake those up, shake them up. But don't throw them away, hate them, bring them in a healthy, integrated way. But actually now, yeah, learning to be my true self, my whole self, and just to flourish. I think that's for me is what I really would love for people, and what I feel like my journey is about, is the unfolding. I'm turning into the oak tree. I'm
Mm.
flourishing. Oh God, no! Did that sound a bit? You know, we're gonna cry now. I have. Oh my God, my last live stream that I did was the one with Rita. I sobbed my eyes out live on camera. Can't believe I did that
Don't
because
get
I'm
much more
ashamed of it.
authentic than that, do you?
But I didn't want to do it because I'm ashamed, because I've got
Mm.
to hide that. That's weak. It's vulnerable. It's embarrassing. Look at my face. I look really ugly when I cry. There's snot on my face. I've got snot in my nose. How embarrassing is that? It's disgusting. But
Yeah.
it's all of that, right? It's all of that. I was like, hide it, hide it. But I
Yeah.
was like,
Well,
no,
I've
I'm
got like
gonna
the
do it.
biggest spot in the whole of history of spots at the moment, and that is like, oh great, we could do with that today. But that's the kind of stuff that goes on in your head, isn't it? I'm not good
Right?
enough because I've got a zit. Oh
I
my
know.
god.
I used to
Anyway.
have a big problem with that when I was younger, and I used to have really bad skin, and I used to wake up every day with just more and more spots, and it was horrible. I used to just stare in the mirror every morning, counting them, and then because you look at them and it's like they're growing as you're looking at them because you're giving them so much attention, and then people used to be like, "Oh yeah, no." I used to call them mountains, and then there were jokes like it's got its own postcode,
Yeah.
and then my siblings would be like, when I talk to them, like, "Oh, who's your friend?" It's like, like great. And then I'd try and cover them up, right? Because I'm ashamed of that. It's
Mm.
ugly, right? Cover it up, makeup, which just makes it look worse. So yeah, it's I just realized we're at time.
Yeah.
We're at time. I could go rambling forever as usual. I'm just gonna read this last comment here from Jagdish, and she says, loving this discussion. Thank you so much. Love that bit about Maslow's theory. I always thought about steps and never going straight to the top and then everything else will follow. I'm glad that that
Excellent.
worked for you. Thank you. Yeah, I love it. It's really, really awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody who has commented and
Yeah.
watched. This is probably the just Lisa says thank you. You're very welcome, sweetie.
Oh.
And thank you for sharing your truth.
Mm.
And being your full self and not hiding, because you did that. You shared what you're going through. And that's really, even something like that, which you may think is small, it's not. Being your full self is admitting all of these things, how you
Mm.
feel, what you're going through, all of it, man. I want all of it. I want all of it. Like I just want all of it. In other people, not me. I'm like, when other people are showing me all of themselves, like, I love it. It's so beautiful. When it's me, it's like, no, I can't handle it. But that's a whole nother live stream. And this is probably the only time I've actually finished a stream almost on time. So let's go with this. Catherine, darling, thank you, firstly. I love talking to you. I love spending time with you. I love your energy.
Likewise,
And I
darling.
love your wisdom. You have just shared some really, really beautiful things that I'm definitely going to go and think about.
Oh.
Um, would you share any last comments, tips, advice to people to stop hiding, live their true self, their authentic self, their full self? Is there anything that you feel is to be shared?
I think it's, well, if there is anything, it's like there's a hierarchy of like between the hand, and the heart, and it's the heart really is at the top.
Mm,
That's the one that's where the magic happens, isn't it? It's to get as close to your heart as you possibly can,
mm,
and sometimes, yeah, that's, like I said, it's not necessarily an easy path, but it's the most valuable one,
yeah,
and I think that's it. Really, it's all there.
I love
But
it.
thank you, Pinky. I mean, it's been lovely, darling. It's just like been having a little chat, like we normally do,
I know. That's
with
how I
with
like it.
with extra people's energies, and yeah. And so thank everybody that showed up and commented, and yeah, I
I
hope it's
so
been
appreciate that. I love this. I live for
helpful.
this. Like I literally, you guys and you, Catherine, all of you, you're like making my dreams come true right now. So I
Mm,
can't be more grateful.
yeah.
Like seriously, like wow, what a blessing. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I just want to add one thing that was just coming to me about that. One last tip around that is like just go for it. So that's so unhelpful, but it's all I've got is like just go for it. Just go for it. Feel the fear, do it anyway. Just go for it. And the more you start getting that out, being it, open about it. Oh, you'll be surprised how quickly you will transcend those limitations,
Mhm.
and you'll come back home to yourself, and you'll realize how amazingly beautiful and perfect and powerful you are, just as you are in all your wholeness. And I love you all. Thank you so much. And I've got a call coming through. Sorry if that's affected my thing. There you go. But thank you. I wish everyone a wonderful afternoon. And if you watch this later and you're not live with us, I hope you enjoy it. Put anything in the comments as you wish, because we will come back and check. Thank you, Catherine. And we will see you soon. I'm sure I will definitely see you soon.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. If you're not following me,
Lots of
by the way,
love.
on the places, follow me on the places on wherever you are, because I do more of these with other people as well. And maybe Catherine and I will do another one, because this was great. So follow me on the places. That's yeah. That'll do. Okay, bye. Bye, everyone. See you. Bye, bye, bye.